Hey, welcome to Press Pause. This past week, on March 11th, we celebrated the 1-year anniversary of the pandemic of COVID-19 that was called by the World Health Organization. Who would have thought that the whole world could be affected in the way that it has been by this virus? Restrictions, lockdowns, loss of so many lives, shattered economies, exhausted and overwhelmed healthcare workers, job losses, and on I can go. And here we are, a year later, still in lockdown, having experienced a second wave, and now with variants of the virus, a possible third wave. Lockdown for a whole year. Whoever would have thought? And I am sure there will be lots of movies and TV series that will come from the events of this past year. I am reminded of a person in the Bible that experienced lockdown for 1 year and 10 days. When I say lockdown, this person had nowhere else to go but to stay where he was. That was Noah. He and his family were locked down in the ark with tens of thousands of animals. I can't even begin to imagine what it was like to be in an ark with all kinds of animals experiencing the ride of their lives on the waves of the waters that covered the whole earth. What an experience that must have been living on the ark. Can you imagine mealtime for not only your family, but for all those animals? And what about the supplies? How did they manage to take all that they would need, as they didn't even know how long they would be on that ark? Perhaps the Lord miraculously multiplied what they had taken and supplied their every need as he did for the Israelites in the desert. Maybe the animals hibernated that whole year. Who knows? And what about all that cleanup that they had to do? I don't even want to go there. Nevertheless, these 8 people on the ark survived, and so did the animals. And 1 year and 10 days later, they came out of the ark and were free to roam the earth once again. Interesting enough, there are 3 things that Noah did when he came out of the ark that are worth noting. The first thing, in Genesis 8:20, we are told that Noah built an altar to the Lord and sacrificed burnt offerings on it, thanking God for rescuing him and his family. In the midst of this pandemic, and especially when it is finally over, we too need to stop and thank God for his protection and watch over us. Secondly, in Genesis 9:20, it says Noah, a man of the soil, proceeded to plant a vineyard. He planted something that would continue to bear fruit and not just last for one harvest. Jesus in John 15:16 says, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you to go and bear fruit, fruit that will last." So let's do the same. Plant our vineyards and bear fruit for God's kingdom. Take this time to discover God's purpose for your life and bear that lasting fruit. And then thirdly, Genesis 9:21 continues, "When he drank some of its wine, he became drunk." Oops. Looks like Noah got himself into some trouble. Somehow he was unable to exercise self-control, and as a result marred some relationships. We all make mistakes, but I believe this is a warning to us to maintain our discipline so that we can move forward with what God has for us. Just as Noah and his family came out of the ark after being locked down for over a year, we too will come out of this pandemic and its restricted life and be able to live again. God is with us in this journey, and he will continue to give us the strength, the patience, and the perseverance we need to get through this. I believe God is saying today, I have not forgotten you. Be faithful in your relationship with me, and I will be more than faithful toward you. So let's do our part just as Noah did. Worship and praise God for his faithfulness towards us. Secondly, plant our vineyards. In other words, discover our purpose and bear that lasting fruit for God's kingdom. And lastly, maintain a disciplined life for God in order to move His kingdom forward. Happy lockdown 1 year anniversary.